So we could have a very quick review for the chapter 5. We started last class. Basically, it's about motivation. We define what is the motivation and the key components for motivation. Without looking at your notes, what is motivation? True, since you are the one that asks, what is motivation? What are the key characteristics or components for motivation? Are you there? You have to unmute yourself. You probably mute yourself, unmute yourself. Or you probably even turned off the audio already. Yingshu, unmute yourself, otherwise we cannot hear you. You're gone? So I'll wait a little bit more. So Bingshu, I'm calling you. Where are you? Are you here? Or I should kick you out, maybe, so that you know that you're not in classroom anymore.
I'm here.
Okay.
Connect have some wrong.
All right. Okay. That's why I said you try to focus on and then unmute yourself. So what would be the key elements for motivation?
What is you ask me what is motivation? Is it right?
What is the key elements for motivation? So are you using VPN right now? You're in China, right? Are you?
Yes.
Okay. So spend time, we have the recorded lecture. You should or review a little bit rather than spend time doing other things. It's midterm. Next Monday will be midterm. And you still don't know what is the key element for motivation?
I think, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, no problem.
I think the motivation is 4 items. The first one is effort and direction and goals.
So the effort, we talk about 4 characteristics for motivation. For any times, you're right. So many times we also want them to work harder. That's when the whole purpose of motivation for people work harder, even there be efforts. For a longer time, that the persistence. Channel your efforts towards some thing relevant to organization objective. That's the direction. So effort, persistent direction, plus you got to have your goals. So there's 4 characteristics of something you can define motivation. If you want to know whether anybody is motivated, let me just put this one out. So the chapter 5 talk about motivation. The key word, of course, is always about motivation. It's about effort. It's about persistence, about the direction, about the goals. So this will be the one that you have to put in your, what should we say, in your brain to understand, to work harder, work for a longer time, direct your efforts towards something to achieve the targets, the goals. So that would be the key elements, for motivation. And then we distinguish 2 types of motivation to begin with. It's really about intrinsic versus extrinsic. You can see the word itself, the term itself, talk about intrinsic, like in, from inside, extrinsic. So intrinsic or extrinsic, from inside, from outside. So external. If you are working for something, for the internal feelings, the sense of achievement, sense of accomplishment, sense of meaningfulness, or the sheer interest of the job itself, that is intrinsic, from inside. If you are working for something from outside, that would be extrinsic, meaning you work for the pay, you work for the rewards, you work for the mark, for the rewards. That's extrinsic. So that would be intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. So Bing Shu, I hope you can follow, right? Rather than say it's too fast for you to take any notes. You do need to do more, right? So any questions before we go further? We covered the last class. That's why we talk about this one. Say if you're concerned with your midterm or anything. We know the midterm will be next Monday at 8 a.m. early time. So go online before that to see whether your computer works well. Restart your computer to have a fresh beginning to prepare for anything. So that will be the one. And also make sure your camera is working and on so that we can see you later. But anyway, that's fine. We have a software to check whether you're doing anything wrong or not. So this will be motivation. Let's go to the next one if you don't have it. So next one actually talk about motivation and performance. What is the performance? If you try to define, you can see that performance refers to the extent to which our members, our employees, contribute to achieving the objective of the organization. So that's about how much you contribute to the end result of the organization. So that is the performance. And then you got to understand that motivation and performance is not kind of one-to-one correlation or one-to-one causation. That is not so straight. We have some other factors that play in addition to this effort. You can see that amount of effort, system effort, and direction of your effort. That called, we have a motivation. That motivation, the process is also affected by your personality. What kind of person you are? You proactive or reactive? What is your IQ, your general cognitive ability, and what is your emotional intelligence? So that will be emotional EQ plus the understanding of the task. A little bit of a chance or luck. So this will be the things that you will want to discuss before you talk about the motivation and the performance. So first one, the IQ, for example. The general cognitive ability, talk about the basic information processing capacity. Why we put the information processing? It's the perception, right? That's why perception is always number one. It's so important. Do you have the ability to process more information compared to others, your cognitive resources, etc.? So your overall capacity and efficiency to mentally process, understand, and learn information will determine what is your IQ. Do you have 140, like myself? I'm kidding, but do you have a 80 IQ? So that causes trouble. So IQ will determine whether you can perform no matter how hard you try, the motivation. That's why we have to put this away before we discuss motivation. This is a IQ. And then we have a EQ, emotional intelligence. So the ability to understand and manage one's own and others' feelings. The key word here you have to be careful would be others. I want you to remember this others feeling, not just your own. So it involves the ability to perceive, express, say, I'm hungry, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm in blue. This kind of perceive and express your emotion, no problem. Then assimilate the emotion. Put it in yourself, you digest to understand, and then do the reading with emotion. It's more important. If you don't go there, it's just normal average. It will be manage emotion about yours and others. So manage emotion in yourself and others. Let's talk about doing, let's say just a simple question. Do we know why we can manage others' emotion? Why do you think we can manage others' emotions? Anybody want to give a try? Anybody can give a try, say why we can manage others' emotion? Do I move? King over there? Chunhua, a very good point. That's why that if you try to please the other, you can do that. You can also upset the other one, right? By doing bad things to upset the other one. But that's not really about managing that. This is only influence, right? You try to do good things so that other will be happy. You do bad things, other would be sad, right? Guide and lead, understanding others' mood. Study, we not talk about understanding. We talk about how to manage. Someone's angry, try to help them keep calm. That's one thing. Mazia, that's good. It's also reasonable. Please talk about consideration, like Chunwa's points said, you try to do good things to help the other one. And how could we? Why it's possible to manage others' emotions? If you remember that one theory, reward punishment to manage others, it could be one. But many times when we talk about EQ, it's not the managers. You don't have that kind of a power to give reward or punishment. So the EQ, when we talk about your own EQ, we are not talking about the EQ of managers. So if you are managers, you don't have the kind of reward or punishment that much to get the best of them. Yeah, okay, well, the reason for managing others' emotion is come from emotion contagion. You remember that theory? When we have the mood and emotion, right? We discuss mood and emotions. We have the emotion contagion, so that emotions are contagious, meaning we can affect others' emotion to change others' emotion. Then we can do it. If we do that purposely, for example, we can interact with others to spread around positive and negative emotion to others. That's why we can manage others' emotions. Yeah, when Zhihan, the long wording, yeah. So when the team feels down, it's really about interaction can change emotions. Interaction can help spread around the emotions. If I'm not happy, through the dialogue, communication, you will tend to be not happy. See that? It's not really say I can reward you or punish you. Instead, it's more about this interaction, this contagion spread around the emotion that influence others. And if I try to do that on purpose, I'm not happy, but I affect others to be happy. So this happiness will affect the other person to be happy. Rather than I do something you like, you'll be happy. You can see that mental emotion, EQ is really about how to influence other emotion. That's very interaction. That's the one. In fact, maybe a little bit infectious. That's a better word, but we say contagious one. So the emotional intelligence is very important for us to consider. Have different levels. You can see this 4-branch model from the beginning. Beginning is understanding, right? So perceiving this emotion accurately in yourself and others, then use emotion to facilitate thinking. After that, you understand emotions, emotion language, try to interpret the signals. Most important would be try to manage emotion to attain specific goals. Manage your own and others' feeling emotion as well as emotional relationship. This is the highest level of EQ, requires one to have mastered the previous stage, right? So the ability to regulate, to adjust, to change one's own emotion so that we can influence others. This will be the EQ. And EQ is very important because you can see the second one. We talk about EQ predicts job performance above and beyond cognitive ability and the big 5 personality dimension. So your IQ can predict your performance. And the EQ goes beyond that, can also predict additional part of performance. In that you have the same IQ, but the EQ higher person will do better. So that will be beyond and the IQ sense. Research support this quite a lot. In addition to that, the motivation and performance relationship will also have this one. It's about the understanding of the task. If you don't understand the task, super smart, very good EQ doesn't help. You need to do a good understanding. That's one. For example, like you all have very good IQ, EQ are also good. But do you understand what is your task? Is it just to get a good mark? Or try to learn some knowledge that is doable, actionable? This word over here, we'll discuss it later on. So what is your task? If you have a poor understanding, you will not get the performance well. And in addition to that, we have the luck and chances. So these luck and chance factors, sometimes, particularly for people who are externals, if you remember the externals, they believe in this quite a lot, the luck, the chance factors. But remember the one word, God only helps those who are helping themselves. Or the goddess of luck only favor those who are prepared. So the luck, fortune, only favor those prepared minds. If you are prepared, you get luck. You say, oh, that person is always good luck. No, it's not that, because he or she is actually well prepared for the luck to come. You never know. The luck could knock on your door so many times. You were sleeping. So, of course, you will not have good luck. Try to wake you up, the good luck outside. You were playing video games. And particularly for those people who often covered your ear with a big, fancy. You try to let go of a fancy ear. So you cannot hear anything for you. Next time, don't do it. I hate those people who cover their ear doing that, and the cars could hit them. People call their name, they cannot hear. So you separate yourself from the rest of the environment, the world. So better not to do that. No, I'm not talking about taking class, of course. Right now, you want to use a earphone or a whole fancy set to make sure you get a good effect. But I would say do it without any interference. Like myself, I don't want to put the earphone or any speaker to it, so that you are responsive. When good luck knocks on your door, you know something is happening. But then keep complaining, oh, nobody favors me. No. And something else actionable. If you remember that righteous error, if you still, like a simple question, almost midterm, what are the righteous errors? Do you remember anyone? What are the righteous errors? Courage, very good. Similar to me effect, yeah. Harshness, leniency, harshness, central tendency, and halo effect. So plus, of course, similar to me effect. So this will be 5 different errors. In particular, similar to effect, you can do that. It's very actionable. You complain about your luck, your chance. Why not create the luck chance for yourself by doing something similar to me, so that your performance will be favorably evaluated? If you don't do anything, you're not prepared, and the luck will not help you. So you can see motivation performance. We do have some other factors, including your personality, right? Including your cognitive, your IQ, including your EQ, and understanding the task, plus the luck or chance factors. And after this considered, let's say, for example, your personality, your IQ has been assessed in selection process. You have low IQ, you will not be admitted to this program already. So it means that you passed the bar already. You meet the threshold. And then good luck or chance, as we said, only for prepared people. If you're not prepared, forget it. Forget about the luck or chance. And understanding the task, we keep explaining so that you understand what we want you to do. And based on that, let's see all the different motivation theories. So we cannot consider motivation in isolation because we have so many different factors, but to put them aside, many times, like your personality, your IQ, somehow given. For you, your IQ is somehow given, right? For particular individuals, it's so hard to say, my IQ will change 40% tomorrow. No, it's fixed already. And for you, the luck, the chance also kind of fixed. And for you, your understanding of the task is kind of fixed. Then what else we can do? This one, motivation. So we have to motivate you. As managers, we have a design policy, a different system to motivate you. Motivation series, we have so many. And in this class, we only cover 2 sets of them, 2 categories. One is called needs theory. Needs theory saying what we want. Needs theory say what we want. To answer the question, what? And the second set would be process series. To answer the question of how. in terms of motivation, needs theory says what motivates people. Process theories, just put the word in case some people say, oh, they don't know. The process theory talk about how to motivate people. We have a two set of these ones. Let's see the need theories first. The first need theory is so famous, so well known, almost everybody knows it. And every manager knows it. It's so well known, so famous, and so wrongly interpreted. Let's see the theory itself. Maslow hierarchy of needs theory. This one talking about a lifelong experience. Maslow was a psychologist. He developed this theory in his practice of consulting, therapy, treatment of people. And he believed that human beings, an individual, from birth to death, okay, from birth to death, from cradle to grave. When you were born in the cradle, we comfort you, to the graveyard when you finish. In this process, we have 5 levels of needs, hierarchy of needs, including, okay, from this one, physiological, for example, that's lowest to the highest self-actualization. You know the hierarchy. Sometimes they put well, it's possible for me to draw here. I think it's like this, the pyramid. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the bottom would be physiological needs, and then top one would be sexualization needs. So this hierarchy over there, 5 different levels. According to Maslow, saying that we begin with very fundamental physical survival needs. We call that physiological. Physical, not psychological. Remember that. It's not psychological. For many of you, I believe almost all of you have learned about this theory, right? Physiological needs, that's the only thing that sometimes confusing. It's not psychological. So physiological needs talking about physical survival needs, such as, anybody can come up with an example for these needs? Okay, Nisha, peace, very good. Loji, you want to eat? Eat is not a need. Food is the one. Water, clothing, yeah. Shelter, okay, peace, you got it wrong now. Eating, that's fine. So food, water, air, that'd be fine. But the sheltering, that's the safety already. Peace, that's not. So very fundamental survival needs for human beings. Actually, the other one, people also call that. So that's the one. Physiological needs, including this very fundamental needs for human beings. Like you would think, well, we want food, sufficient food, clean water, clear air, breathing, right? That's a very physical, very fundamental needs. It may not be so sometimes. You heard the news fairly recently about the very, what should we say, vicious Japanese government who try to dump the polluted water into the ocean. Ever heard that? Really, I think just this week kind of news. Talk about Chongyang, right? Very good. Yeah. So very recent, Chongyang. So you can see that the Asian countries, China, South Korea, that region, Blue Strait, will be affected right away if they dump that the wastewater from their nuclear plants into the ocean, and gradually it will come to U.S., Canada, to the Pacific Ring. We may be able to see the Godzilla, if you know this one. Anybody knows what is Godzilla? Ina, do you know what is Godzilla? Ever watched this movie? Maybe not your fan. You should watch the Darwin stories, right? Godzilla is a kind of a mutant. Yeah, it's a monster, a mutant from the ocean, from Pacific Ocean, because of the nuclear waste. Actually, that's the trouble. This is a very famous The monster story in Japan. They have a very famous hotel. What is the hotel name? That Red Light Street in Japan, Tokyo. They have a theme hotel with Godzilla, big, models over there, all kinds of movies. They shot 30 to 40, Godzilla, 30 to 40 times about the same story in different ways. And of course, with new technology, they make it even more scary. Yeah, exactly. It's the mutant from Clear West. They put it in the ocean, and they get this monster out to kill people. So you can see that Japanese government is doing it that in the real life, not in the movie. I don't know. The people are crazy over there. They don't even think about the socially responsible kind of behavior. The CSR, it doesn't exist in their mind, I guess. And no wonder they were the invader in the World War II, right? They just kill so many people around the globe. Maybe they deserve that kind of a fate. So that's the one. When you think about the fundamental needs for clean water, we may have trouble very soon if Japanese government dumps that tons of, I think, tens of thousands of tons of waste water into the ocean. Similarly for the air, the polluted air, in some countries, the pollution is so bad, you breathe in, we got trouble. And maybe that could be the reason that so many people try to come to Canada. So such a huge land, not many people, very small population, right? We only have a 35 million in the whole country. It's like a city's population, like in China, if you compare that. We have such a good environment here in Canada. Lots of people try to come here to stay away from pollution, from this water, air. So the fundamental part is very important. If you don't have this satisfied, you get trouble. So this physical survival needs is the beginning. And Maslow is saying that after this basic level of physiological needs are satisfied, people will move to the next level, safety. Safety needs saying that people have the desire to be free or to stay away from potential danger. Safety needs. Then we have to think about what are the safety needs. So piece you mentioned the sheltering. So I'm not hungry anymore. I have more than enough food. So what else do I need? I need a big house. Safety needs. I need sheltering, big house. And of course, in the organizational context, could be job security. Just said, job security is also that. That in case you don't know, you can see that. So all of this condition that might meet these needs. Talk about job security, sensible rules, regulation. You feel safe. To give you that kind of a feeling, I'll be okay, no problem. So it's in the organizational context. Of course, in the life experience context, it's really about security, stability, freedom from potential danger. That'll be the one for safety needs. And after you have enough food, you eat, I'm full, I'm happy in the big house, what else do you need? The next level would be kind of, we say, social needs or belonging needs. I want to belong to a certain group, like a family, like a union, like a university, like this class. This belonging needs. It's for friends. So I have enough food, I have a protection, I have a lot of friends. What else do I do? Actually, many people will stop here. The first 3 levels, they'll stop here. Yeah, I'm good enough. But others will say, no, I want to. No, sheltering is more like the safety. We just say that it's safety needs. Say from the beginning, like kids, a baby, I don't care whether I'm going to share it or not. I just want to eat. You find the milk, that's the first thing you want to do. The rest, after I grew up, I was thinking about the freedom from potential kind of danger. This social culture group, that will be belongingness a little bit. But after that, we want to think about our self-value. That is called esteem needs. What is your own value? Self-evaluation. Am I kind of valuable person? Can I do anything at all? So that's kind of a self-evaluation about ego. The esteem It's a big ego over there. Talking about whether you have been very successful, then you have a high self-evaluation. You're more like believing yourself, the confidence level. And also, if your achievement, your performance has been highly regarded by others, you also have a high esteem needs. Talking about your values. So this esteem needs come from two aspects. One is your own experience. Like you finish this class, get a good mark, that's kind of the feeling, self-accomplishment. And also you could become the employee of the year. And it's recognition from others. So esteem have two levels. The last one you keep going would be self-actualization needs. So self-actualization needs is called high-level needs. The rest would be relatively lower-level needs. But anyway, self-actualization needs really refer to you try to fulfill your potential. You try to become what you are capable of becoming. You try to become what you are capable of becoming. There is no limit for your potential. Fulfill your potential. We often heard that there is no limit. Only the sky is the limit. So keep growing. The special needs we can talk about, like the other level needs. Say you're satisfied, safety, food, belonging, you get friends, no problem. Esteem, you get recognition enough. The self-actualization needs is only special needs that the more you satisfy this needs, the stronger it becomes. The more you satisfy this level of needs, the more they become stronger. So meaning that the more you achieve, the more you want to achieve. You hear the differences? The more you achieve, the more you want to achieve. Like you become #1 student in this class. You want to become #1 in this program. Put yourself in the dean's list. And then you keep going, that #1 in this university. So it will be like the more you achieve, the more you want to achieve. It's like that discrepancy when you talk about how we learn, right? We have a discrepancy reduction. Yeah, Mazia, you become a senator, you want to become the president. Actually, you don't need to be a senator. You become the governor, right? You want to become the senator. Then you become the president. So it's different things. So the more you achieve, you find, yeah, I probably still have more potential. I should do more. And once you become president, what else would you do? Want to make more money so that not like Donald Trump, who's going to go bankrupt if he failed this election, right? Or you want to become the general-in-chief of the United Nations, secretary-in-chief, somewhere. We will keep going. This kind of a potential, keep going. And of course, remember this lifelong experience. To get that self-actualization needs, you probably already old enough to stop sometimes. That's why we're going to discuss a little bit on this theory. Is so beautiful, so elegant, but we don't have evidence to support it in a short time. It works for your lifelong time span, not for your time cross-sectional cut. Say, how about now? Which level I'm in? No, that's hard to test. So they have no scientific evidence to support this theory, even though everybody believing it, everybody buy it. But this gives us the idea that everybody has a different level of needs, some high, some lower. For the high level needs, self-actualization is really the potential to fulfill. That's the one that you have to think about. And this self-actualization needs, we said, is discrepancy generation production. We are close to our potential. We produce more discrepancy for us to achieve. That is self-actualization needs. And for this theory, we have a very important assumption. So what would be the, let's say, prerequisite, if you understand this term? If we use assumption, sometimes it's hard for you to take. So actually, that's a basic assumption behind this theory. What is basic assumption behind the theory? Talk about, according to Maslow, at any time, only one level needs motivated people. That's one. Meaning that we have 5 levels. But whenever we have a multiple level of needs are not satisfied, the lower level needs are more potent. I hope you understand the word. Potent means stronger, means more powerful. So that's assumption one. Only one level needs motivated people, and the lower level needs are more potent. And even more would be unsatisfied needs motivate people, and the satisfied needs will not motivate people. I think that's like a self-evidence. It's like everybody agree with that. That's why they didn't put it here, but it just in case. I'll put it over here. So unsatisfied needs motivate people. If satisfied or to a certain extent satisfied, they will not motivate. And the second one would be, according to Maslow, would be once your needs are satisfied, will lead to satisfaction leads to progression, meaning that level of needs satisfied, then you move to the top, to the even higher. So to more potent unsatisfied needs. So this will be the two assumptions according to Maslow. Satisfaction leads to progression, and according to Maslow, saying that lower level needs satisfied, you move to the higher levels. The higher level needs are not satisfied, you stay there. You will keep trying to satisfy the higher level needs because it's life. So that's the key point for this Maslow hierarchy needs theory. I hope you have a better understanding than just know we have this theory. So there's different level of needs, and these assumptions. Then, as we said, research in the organizational context does not support hierarchical needs theory by Maslow that much, because we can only do that at one time, right? At one time, not in terms of life. It's so hard to test your life experience that long. In order to find more evidence, and scholars keep exploring the different hierarchical needs. So this is another one, ERG theory. ERG theory basically just want you to know that for any time, we need to exist. That's existence needs. And anytime we need friends, relatedness needs. And anytime we will also need to grow. So this level needs. Any human beings could have this existence, relatedness, and growth. This ERG theory. If you read backward, that'll be GRE, right? That's the path to your success. So this existence, relatedness, and growth. And ERG Edinburgh adjust a little bit the assumption based on this one. The first one, they try to revise Maslow's hierarchy, saying that no, we should not get 5 levels. Instead, we should get 3 levels to simplify this kind of hierarchy: existence, relatedness, and growth. And further on, his own assumption would be more than one level needs can motivate people. More than one level needs can motivate people, rather than like Maslow's belief only one level needs motivate people. So if you are at this moment, you're hungry, you also want to study, what will you do? So we have a 2 level of needs motivate, say, I would eat and stay in the classroom trying to study. Rather than for Maslow, that would be you will have to go find food to eat. That is only one level, and lower level needs are more potent. And for the second assumption, according to Edinburgh, would be satisfaction leads to progression is already there. But in addition to that, frustration leads to regression. Heard this term, regression, in your quantitative studies? So if your high level needs are not satisfied, you will go back to lower level needs to supplement that kind of design. Let's say in the organizational context, you can never go to the high level to become the managers, to become the CEO. What should you do? According to Maslow, you keep trying. According to Edinburgh, oh, I will go back to make more money. So I don't care about the promotion opportunity anymore. I care about my salary. So if I don't see any opportunity to move up, I may go back to lower level needs. So this is ERG theory. It's much more realistic compared to hierarchy needs by Maslow. So you got to know the differences between the two set of things. This is one. You can see existent needs corresponding to really basic. So physiological needs and safety needs a little bit. And then related needs talk about the belonging needs and some from self-esteem. Growth would be the self-actualization. There's a difference between Maslow and Adler's in terms of hierarchy. You can see the key for that would be over here. If the higher level needs are unsatisfied, ungratified, so individuals will increase their desire for the lower level needs satisfaction. That is called frustration, leads to regression. It's very important. So research supports ERG theory quite a lot, and less so for Maslow's hierarchy of needs theories. The third needs theories would be McLennan's theory of needs. So this is a non-hierarchical needs theory. Instead of considering our needs have different levels, lower level, high levels, McLennan believed that no, we have a different level of needs. We have different needs, but not in the hierarchy or in certain sequence or orders. According to this theory, we have a need for achievement, need for affiliation, and need for power. So for this one, talk about achievement. I try to accomplish something. I have a strong need to finish something. That is need for achievement. Need for affiliation, talk about I have a strong need for belonging to some group. Friendship, the belonging is over there. The need for power, talk about power, you got to be careful. It's not the evil word we often discussed in our politics. It's more in the organizational context. It refers to the capacity to influence others. We'll come back to this about power itself later on, but need for power is really about I want to influence others, the desire to influence others, to make a significant impact or impression. You can see different type of people. People with high need for achievement will be sales jobs, entrepreneurial positions. People with high need for affiliation, it's mainly about social the interactions. And people with high need for power, we have this generalism because this one, opinion leaders, don't have any power over there in terms of managerial positions. But they do have the influence on others. That's why it's people high need for power also do this kind of job, and the management, of course. So this is McLennan's need theory. Researchers support quite a lot. The implication for this different needs theory, of course, would be people have different needs. Therefore, in order to motivate them, you have to appreciate the diversity, appreciate the differences. I'm in the social needs level. You are in the self-actualization level. So don't talk with me about how I want to achieve. I just need more friends, or even I need more money. Think about yourself. When you get to the company, find a job, the boss, the CEO say, oh, let's think about the vision of the company. Let's think about the future, the stocks and others. Well, you're not there yet, right? You are worried about your salary. Can I get a big paycheck? Appreciate diversity. So don't talk about the mission for the company. Talk about how to increase my paycheck a little bit. So people of level, they have different needs. And of course, for intrinsic motivation. This one really talk about, we know we have, according to hierarchies, we have high level needs, we have lower level needs. The hierarchy is saying that for the high level needs, it can never be fully satisfied. It's not saturated. Meaning, the more you achieve, the more you want to achieve. So this growth needs from inside have a much long-lasting, sustainable power on you, rather than external, like the salary, like the benefits, like others. So intrinsic motivation from inside to grow, to develop, to self-actualize is much more powerful, much more sustainable. That is intrinsic motivation. Any questions? This one that we have to appreciate. And of course, besides that, the three set of needs series, we have another theory called SDT. You understand the motivation depends on the satisfaction of three basic. Now, it's a psychological need. Okay, it's not physiological. That's why we keep emphasize physiological is physical needs. I need to eat, but this would be psychological needs, SDT theory. This kind of universal for our well-being, our healthy situation, etc. They are not hierarchical. We don't know which one is more important, which one is less important. Instead, we talk about three different needs. Competence talk about the sense of capability. I can do it. With the feeling, a sense of the mastering, being effective in one's environment, you can do it. That's your ability, competence, feeling. Relatedness to the feeling, I'm connected to others. That's why it's very important to see you on my screen. I feel I'm connected, rather than talk to an empty screen, so that people often feel lonely. And you probably get that feeling if some professor, I know quite a lot of professors just post the lecturing online. You don't even see them live, right? Also, you don't feel that relatedness. You are isolated, particularly if you are studying your bedroom right now in your home country. Being true is right. So if you are, I hope you're not sleeping. If you are sitting in your own bedroom, sleeping, and not paying much attention, well, you don't have that relatedness. And then the third one, talk about autonomy, the feeling about I'm in control. I have the choice. I do things, I'm internals rather than externals, right? So the competence, the relatedness, and the autonomy, these three psychological needs also determine what kind of motivation you have. Either we have this autonomous motivation, is more self-motivated or intrinsically motivated when they feel they are in control. So this will be autonomous motivation from internal rather than from external. And the second type of motivation would be control. Controlled motivation, when you are motivated to achieve something, desired consequences or external rewards. If you are in a controlled motivation, individuals feel they are pressed. They are just, they need to do this. They have no choice but to engage a task. And of course, it's externally motivated, which is not good. We want to make sure that we try to provide condition so that employee will be autonomously motivated rather than controlled motivated. So this will be self-SDT. Research support quite a lot, yeah. And you can see the difference between intrinsic versus extrinsic. It's also another important one for us to consider. An implication, of course, we should provide opportunity for employees to feel that kind of a competence, to feel that kind of autonomy, to feel that kind of relatedness. That's why I managed to provide employee with autonomy support, provide a job that is interesting, challenging, and with the employee, a relationship like a family type of organization. So that is the one we have to use, SDT. All right, so let's take a break, a 10 minutes break in case you feel sleepy. So take a break, stretch out a little bit, or stand up, do something. Then we come back in 10 minutes. Of course, I can give you a Google Doc. Let me just share so that you can do it. So you are good. Almost the first one to finish the Google Doc. I can see the progress. I need Chunghua someday and teach me how to pronounce that ng. I know n. Okay, very good. Yeah.
It pronounced in the nose.
Okay. Yeah.
Cantonese.
Okay, very good. Because this one, right? If you in terms of the pronunciation, but it's hard to pronounce it.
That's the Mandarin pronunciation. So
Yep.
I'm in Hong Kong, so using the Cantonese
Yeah,
pronunciation.
I know that the spelling is slightly different. No problem. It's
Yeah,
just sometimes, you know, I have to taught. I think once the dean, I have to teach my dean to pronounce our names. Sometimes through the convocation.
actually a little bit complicated for Western to
Yeah,
pronounce Mandarin or like pronounce Chinese slang. So
yeah, that's a problem. Sometimes when you have a long one, even why probably hard for them to pronounce. So I also
yeah,
have to teach them right before the convocation because they have to read out the names. Say this is how we're going to pronounce.
a little bit tough for us, for them.
Yeah, it's true. They have difficulty also challenge. Jingru, I saw your question. I didn't see your name on that list. I'll check it again. I assume that is okay. Maybe I'll find out in terms of your last class, the grading. Let me see that. Section 2. Jinru, it's stranger. It was not on my files on the list, so I assume that I take that as something. Yes, but next time make sure check your names over there. No, I just searched. It's not there. Yeah. So we have a bin here when the empty, no name. I hope you can. Is it Bingshu? You put a BI. On my side, I only see the bin. Bingshu, your name begin with bin. Maybe you didn't finish. I saw the other part. You put your name already. The Jingru, I'll figure out. No problem. No, don't feel too bad. I know you're a good student, so always attending the class. Don't worry. Take a break. We're gonna come back. Oops, in 6 minutes. We're gonna run out. Yeah. So we hope all have come back, right? So the second part for chapter 5 would be a slightly different perspective to think about how to motivate people. Say that the motivation has a fairly complicated relationship with performance, because we talk about more effort, right? Persistent effort and a channeled effort. This one all have to go through the influence of personality, IQ, EQ, understanding the task, and a little bit of a chance or a little bit of luck. We do need a little bit of good luck, right? Most time, but the good luck really come from your prepared mind. You have to be prepared for good luck, otherwise you will not. And then we introduced a two set of theories. One is series, Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory, ERG, Edford ERG theory, and McLean needs theory. The STT theory, the second set, talk about instead of talk about the physical needs, it's more psychological needs. So these days, the physiological part is less important, meaning because of the development of civilization. So the physiological needs are less important. Instead, we focus on the psychological. Would be, do you have that feeling about the competence? Do you have the feeling about your autonomy? Do you have the feeling about, when you think about everything, can I do it? Do I have the freedom to do some stuff? Am I in control, right? So this one will give you the so-called autonomous motivation or controlled motivation. If it's controlled, you're working for something external. If it's autonomous motivation, you work for something internal, like intrinsic motivation. And then we have this so-called the second major components, but it's the third group would be the process series of work motivation. Process series really talk about the details how motivation occurs. So we try to understand the process, how people are motivated in this process. We understand that the needs, for example, will drive you to find food. That's like what motivates people. If we think about how you are motivated, that's the process series try to answer. So in this one, we have three more important process series. One is talk about equity theory. Let's say that one first. Equity theory, you heard of this one already, right? Remember? In chapter 4, talk about when we have to think about what is fair, right? The fairness. In order to determine this different level of fairness, talk about a distribution outcome, talk about a procedural outcome, the different ones. What is the fair? In order for you to get so-called job satisfaction. Let's see if we review it or not. Without looking at your notes, what is equity theory? Anyone can give it a try? What is equity theory? Yes, Mazia?
Just the theory that was talking about the perception that we have that the input and the output is the fraction is fair for us and for the other employees is the same.
Okay, very good beginning, but it's not really the theory itself yet. Anybody want to give a try? Yeah, let's talk about the comparison, talk about the fairness. What is the theory itself? Anyone, you can also put it in the chat room. Yes, Chunghua, go ahead.
I think it's the equity ratio between the outcome of one cell divided by the income of one cell, and then compared to the outcome divided by income of others.
Okay, very good. You got a part already. So you can say, Daniel, you put that input to output. Actually, it's the outcome over input. If we ask what is equity theory, you have to explain it's really the ratio of output or outcome over input. Instead just to put the input to output, that's wrong. Logic is not about equal. That's called equality. This one is equity. Equity talk about fairness. So the equity theory is saying that what is fair really depends on the ratio of your outcome over input and the ratio of the other person, the reference outcome over input, not on the absolute value of your outcome. That is equity series. We have an outcome, we have an input, we have a reference. You all know the definition, right? The input, if you try to define what is input, it's everything you give, you contribute to the organization in return for, something you want for that outcome. The outcome would be everything, always in perception. Everything the company gives to you as return or the reward for your contribution to the company. That is the outcome. And the ratio, of course, will be outcome over the input. And the reference will be anything you use for comparison about your ratio. Could it be your co-workers, could be your previous experience, could it be a job in some other company. That would be the three key elements for equity ratio sense. That's about equity theory. And you also need to know if you experience the positive, negative inequity, and the equitable situation is only about when we have the equal ratios. That is called equity or equitable situation. So this one is covered in last chapter already. Just want to check whether you have prepared. It's already the last class before the midterm, right? But anyway, you do need to review. That's the equity theory is answer how we perceive and how we react. That's the process. Another one is goal setting theory. Goal setting theory is also straightforward. A theory says that simply setting a goal will be motivating. That goal setting theory, very straightforward, right? Setting a goal is motivating, whether this goal is set by yourself or set by the other. Like you are assigned a goal from your managers. So either way, they are motivating. They have different powers, of course. So that's a goal setting theory. And goal setting theory is a very powerful tool for even for ourselves, for self-management. We can come back to that later on, but for goal setting theory itself, it's just setting the goal is motivating. But what kind of a goal is more, let's say, most motivating? Let's come to the practice. Often used in HR, in the organization, that is smart goal setting. So the goal setting series itself is very straightforward, nothing fancy. And of course, they have some elements. For example, the goal commitment. If you set a goal yourself, you are more likely to commit to it. If the goal is assigned by your manager, it's more like, oh, I have to do it anyway. That can less commitment. If you participate in the process of goal setting, you're more committed. If you do not have the opportunity to participate, you're not so committed. So goal setting, the process itself can change the motivational power. It doesn't change. Goal setting itself is motivating. When it comes to the practice often used in the organization, we say, what kind of goal setting is most motivational? That is smart goal setting. Anybody? I believe many of you must have heard smart goal setting. What is smart goal setting?
Hello, Professor. So
Yes,
it has to be specific, measurable, attainable, and realistic, and time bound, right?
Okay.
I think that, yeah.
Somehow it's close. Yes.
Yeah.
One thing that you got to be careful, could be wrong, is attainable and realistic. These two repeat.
Yeah.
Attainable, realistic, that's the same meaning. That's why
Oh,
what is smart goal setting is specific, and measurable. Let me put it this way. I try to type, it's so hard. So the measurable and attainable, relevant, it's R with time. The goal must be time bound, so with time limit. The deadline. The smart goal setting saying that in order for the goal to be very motivational, it must be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant with the time limit. Within the time limit, you have to achieve it. If not, then you didn't get your goal. That's why it's a time limit. So smart goal setting is really specific enough so that you know what you should do, and you can measure it so that you can evaluate later on. And then it's realistic, attainable. It's not something that just, well, you know that you cannot do it, then you won't be motivated. Relevant would be go to your organization, to yourself, to whatever. It's not just randomly go. And then time limit saying in certain time deadline. Think about yourself when you heard that try your best is goal setting. Try your best is a goal setting, of course. It's motivating, but very minimum power because it's not smart. If your parents often say, try your best at school, you don't do anything or almost nothing. Why? Because it's not smart goal. You don't know what you should do to try your best. And you don't know how to measure whether you have tried your best or not. And you don't know how to attend it, right? Try your best. Well, and relevant, maybe yes. When time limit, try your best has no time limit. That's why try your best, try your things when you become the managers. When you try to set a goal, or when you try to encourage or motivate your employees, you have to be specific, be smart. Let's say for you in this class, I want you to improve your GPA by 10% by the end of this semester. Specific 10%, you can measure it, and I think 10% increase should be attainable. I'm not saying double it, and relevant for your class within the semester. So you can see that you have to be smart goal setting. So goal setting is important, but it must be smart. That's a practice we use a lot in organizational context. In addition to that, smart goal setting can be even smarter. Smart goal setting can be smarter by, of course, ending ER, right? ER is not an emergency room. If you watch the TV show, right? Not emergency room, instead it's something else. Emergency room, let's say evaluation. Actually, the first one, E, refers to evaluation. Because we only talk about smart. Just say that whether we evaluate or not. So smart goal setting, when the ER, you have to evaluate whether you have achieved a target or not. That's a evaluation. And then R, we have another R, actually it refers to reassessment. Reassessment is assessment for the overall process. Once you set a smart goal, now we evaluate whether you achieved the goal or not. Then we can see that whether we should reassess the overall process, whether it's good or not to help you to achieve the goal. That's reassessment. So smart goal setting can be even smarter when you add evaluation and reassessment to the picture. So that is goal setting. And goal setting is really powerful. And we say that at the beginning of class, also actionable. Not for this class, you think about you memorize this goal setting theory because it's so simple. You don't even need to memorize. But how do you act on that? Let's ask you, do you have a goal for your life? Seriously thinking? Your life goal. What's the purpose of living? I don't want you to get into the psychological cycle you cannot get out, but you do have to think about what is your goal. What is your goal for your life? Or your short-term goal would be what is your goal for this semester, for the program, and then for your life. Because goal setting is really powerful to change your life. Many times, we don't know. And one research conducted about 30 years ago on Harvard Business School graduates. You know that Harvard Business School, you get an MBA student over there. You got to have over 10 years working experience and almost perfect GMAT, etc. So very high elite group at the Harvard Business School. And right before they finished the study, so the researcher approached them, tried to understand the process of goal setting. Ask them, what is your goal for life? What is the goal for your life? You can ask yourself. Okay. Anyone? The majority had no goals, just like you. Maybe, I hope it's not true, but just like most of the people, they don't have a goal for their life. At least they're not very clear. Or you keep changing the kind of goal, it's not really called a goal. And then the second group would be, yes, I have a goal. I try to double my salary or try to double the asset of my company. I want to become the CEO of the Fortune 500 companies. So I have 13% of this respondents said I had a goal. But it's just a goal over there. And then percent having a written goal. That is different, meaning that the goal is written on the piece of paper, on your memo, or somewhere as your motto, rather than because in the old time you did not have the social media, you do not have your friend circle over there, right? So they wrote it down with a pen somewhere with the goal. I will become the president of, for example, HP or United States of America. This kind of written goal over there. See the differences. The majority, 84%, no goal, 13% having a goal but not written. Only 3%, a very small group of them, have a written goal. Ask yourself, do you have it? So the scholars conducting this study approach the same group of students, graduates after 10 years, want to check what is the impact. Well, of course, other factors considered. So they found that for this 13% that having a goal, actually on average, have twice times of individual revenue compared to the first group with no goal. Their salary, like, is a double compared to first group because you don't have a goal, cannot get anywhere. So that's the whole key things. You don't have a target. You don't even know what you should work for. And then the third group, the smallest group, 3%, found that this 3% has the overall kind of wealth, which was 10 times of the previous two groups' wealth combined. Group 1, 84%, 13%, their wealth combined times 10 equal to 3% small groups of all wealth. Said that already other factors considered equal. Now you can see having a written goal is how powerful it could be. That's why we keep asking you to think about your goal. Do you have a goal at this moment? Do you want to have a goal? And many times, we are learning actionable knowledge. We want you to use this to change yourself, rather than just memorize this to get an A+ for this course. So do you have a goal? Think about it. And the only difference between a successful person and sometimes we use a word you don't like, I just put it over here, don't worry, no offense. And this word, right? Successful individuals and the losers are the action. The knowledge, they have the same. Like here, you have the training, we give you the same knowledge, no problem. But why we still have some get a very good performance, some not? Because you didn't take any action. And this story already say that setting a goal, write it down, is so extremely important. So you have to have one. And I'm pretty sure from past experience, at the end of the semester, when I ask the same question, you still don't know what is the goal for your life. And at the end of this program, once you finish, you still don't know. You keep saying, I will set a goal, I will set a goal, and then you forget. Do it while it's still not too late. Set a goal for yourself, for your life. Think about what you want to become in 20 years. And then use that goal. I said, you write it down. And use that goal to guide you to adjust your course action and to keep it more sustainable efforts. See, Tornado, of course, I will already say that other things equal. You should compare when the person also have limited resources. That's why we say SMART goal. It's a realistic. You don't just set a goal, say, I want to become president of the United States of America. No way at this moment. I'm not quite sure. You may be, right? But at this moment, I probably say, no way. You have to be realistic. When you think about, resources, when you think about, good luck, your personality, you already get it wrong. You set this goal, and without setting the goal, this is for you only, right? Why are you trying to compare with the other one? Setting a goal for yourself or without a goal for yourself will change you a lot. You're not trying to set a goal so that you're going to beat Bill Gates. There's no way you can do that. We're not saying that the goal setting will give you like a superpower that you're the #1 person. Otherwise, everybody becomes #1 person. It's not that way, Geneto. You got to understand. When you try to find an excuse, I can see that you don't even buy this theory, right? Some people have limited resources. I'm saying that for you, it would be with a goal or without a goal. That's huge differences. I hope you do something to set a goal for yourself rather than to compare that, yeah, that guy is rich, so I don't set a goal. Well, the rich person has nothing to do with you, right? Thank you. So you see that it's not really about the other person try to compare. Instead, it's about yourself. If you don't set a goal and the situation you set a goal, this will make huge differences for everybody. Like in this classroom, we give you the same set of knowledge. I keep talking about you do something, you act on something. If you don't do it, right? I cannot do very much, right? That's exactly the point. That if you don't do anything, you cannot achieve anything. So we said God can only help those who help themselves. If you don't act, God can help you. All right, that's goal setting theory. So equity theory, goal setting theory. I hope the goal setting theory, because it's so simple, so easy. You don't need any like resources to set a goal. I want you to do it so easily. Set a goal and always use that goal to adjust your behaviors. For example, just say a simple one. For this class, get a B+. I'm not saying A+. Get a B+. What you should do? Use that goal on paper to check your behavior. Have I done something I need to achieve this goal? You don't have a goal. You only said, oh, I want to get a good mark. What does good mark means? Not smart. You don't even have a clear goal. How do you get there? How do you know what behavior I have to change? If you want to get an A, for example, you may have to think about going to watch the movie may not be the one that help you to achieve the goal. So use that goal to adjust, regulate your behaviors. Then you know why the goal is working. Whenever you take anything, think about, well, Shen, that's easy to say, right? You need to use knowledge and action to what you know. And no, not necessary. Sometimes, at least, you have to do something. That's the problem. Keep, think about the efforts. That's why the motivation. That's why we call it motivation. This is a motivation theory. And with the goal setting, you can put more efforts, more sustainable, persistent efforts for the direction. That's why goal setting is exactly the one that for your motivation considering. And all things like the unity of knowledge and action is kind of a, of course, it's good from its wording part. Yeah, no problem. It's about the chicken soup, right? So, and the last theory for the process of motivation, expectancy theory. This one I'm going to change to whiteboard to talk about. This first one is called expectancy theory. Expectancy is not expectation. Okay, it's not expectation theory, but it does involve some kind of future-oriented thinking. That's expectancy theory. Second, this one was developed by Bloom. Nope, I'll have to change it just a minute. Without the a guy called Bloom. It's an interesting name, right? Just like the car. You have a fancy racing car. What will you do? You want to speeding in the street, right? And it will have this room kind of a noise. I guess the room, the father must be a mechanic, right? So Vroom is a very famous scholar by developing this theory. Later on, we're going to have another theory developed by him, but we're going to discuss that. Vroom used to be working at McGill University in Canada, Montreal, the university I graduated. He used to be working there, but later on, yeah, the American university pay more, so he went to US. Too bad, right? Sometimes you got to accept the reality. But okay, expectancy theory over here. So what is expectancy theory? Expectancy theory is saying that to determine whether you are motivated or not, we have to consider a few questions. Or we have to consider how we answer this question to determine what is the motivational power for a particular event. That is expectancy theory. In the book, they use a very complicated explanation, so I will say forget it. I'm going to make a simple one for you to understand. And if you have to explain this theory, use the one that I'm going to explain to you right now. I cannot say more probably, right? If I say this, basically means you have to take notes. I hope you understand the points, but I have to say this every time. So expectancy theory, according to Vroom, that whether we are motivated or not, really depends on three questions. First one is, can I do it? So the first set of questions we will have to answer would be, if you want to know whether I'll be motivated, you have to think about, can I do it for a particular job or task? Do I have the ability to do it? So E to P, E means effort. I can write over here. So the effort is performance on outcome. So first set of questions you should ask would be, can I do it? Second would be, can I get it? Again, the value will be 0 to 1. You can see that it's two set of questions. Of course, we have another one. To ask yourself or to answer for a particular individual, are you motivated? Can I do it if I put the efforts? E to P means the efforts over there, can I perform at the required level? And the value is 0 to 1. It's the assessment on the question, can I do it? If you don't think you can do it, there'll be 0. If you think you can do it, that'll be 1. If you think I have a 50% chance, if I put efforts, I can do it, and the value will be 0.50. And can I get it? That's another second question you will have to ask, meaning the performance. So if I perform at required level, do I get the outcome? Remember that? In the equity theory, we have the outcome. So if I perform at the required level, can I get the outcome? That's P to O. Once again, it's the assessment. To what extent you believe you can get the outcome if you perform at the required level, that's 0 to 1. If you don't think you can get it at all, that's 0. If you think for 100%, for sure you can get it, that will be 1. And that's the second question you have to ask. And the third one, according to expectancy theory, that will be, do I like it? That will be valence. The value for this one, of course, is 0 to -1 to +1. The third question I have asked to determine about the motivation would be, do I like it? Flip it to I'm gonna. Oops. The drawing is really hard for me. So the third one would be, do I like it? This V refers to valence, not the value. The valence. Now you can see that. How much you are motivated to do anything? We have been, I believe you must have the perception, or at least the bias is saying that organizational behavior has no numbers. The OB has no numbers, right? Not like your quantitative studies, all numbers. No, for this one, for the first time, Vroom, very good, right? Introduce mathematics in this theory. So motivational force equal to E to P times E to O times valence. So this will be the one that you can consider. How do we know that you are motivated to do anything? It comes from here. Your assessment about can I do it? Your assessment, can I get it? Your assessment, do I like it? Do I like it? You have -1 to +1 means I like it very much. That's +1. It makes no difference to me. That's 0. I don't like it. I hate it. It's -1. So this one give you power to avoid it rather than do it. So that's do I like it? The valence. And example would be if I think, for example, whether if you answer that, am I motivated to do that thing? The answer would be first one. Can you do it? You would ask yourself. Yeah, I think 60% chance I will be able to do it. What would be the chance you can get the reward? I think I have 80% I'll be getting it. You like it? Yes, I like it very much. So how much would you get for this formula? Very good, logic. You are so good. So that's been accounting, right? The simple ones. Kidding. This will be like a 0.48. So you know that 0.48 the chance of this is the power on you. Then you compare with another one. If you try to decide that for the other task, I only get a 50% chance of doing it, and I had similar, 0.80 to get the reward, and I also like it much. Which one you are more motivated to do? So this one is 0.40, right? So you do the first rather than the second. You can compare the motivational force. That MFF refers to force. I hope you understand. May the force be with you, right? Star Wars. You get the magic word force, then you know which one you want to do. So compare these differences. That's expectancy theory, where we have to calculate, we assign the value. Can I do it? Can I get it? Both would be the range 0 to 1. Do I like it? It's range -1 to +1. If you hate it, you're probably going to try to stay away from it. So this is the value for expectancy theory. At this moment, do we have any questions? Monsieur, it means leading to. That's E to P, 2. Let me write it again over here. Symbol, yeah. If in the board, I could just put the arrow, right? And in the whiteboard, it's a little bit hard. So it's a effort leads to performance. To what extent you believe your effort will lead to required performance? Similarly, to what extent you believe your required the performance at a required level, not just any performance. Your required performance leads to outcomes. That's why E to P, P to O, and balance. So very good. Any other questions? So that's a lead. That's range things. Okay, if you don't have any question, let's think about the implication of this theory. Expectancy theory, of course, we're not just yes, valence is between. Okay. It's 0 to 1, 0 to 1, -1, 2, +1. It's between the value. I guess maybe if you are from the, not quite sure whether you're from mathematical background. I hope this one would be better. Yeah, Lord, you put it right. Yes. So it's a range. It's not either or kind of things. See this one? It could be 0.5, 0.6, 0, that's anything will be possible. So that will be the one for this. I'm going to delete it because it's really, oops. Yeah. So now let's come back to the question, or this three set of question. As managers, how do we improve the motivational force? Given that a room, or according to this theory, that every individual actually goes through the reasoning process. They may not have a particular clear formula in this, but they definitely go through this reasoning process. Can I do it? Can I get it? or what do I like it? You can see that if any of this element, E2P, P2O, or valence equal to 0, you know what would happen, right? If any of this equal to 0, you're going to have a 0 for total, right? If you have any of this is 0, there's no motivation. You know why? If I don't think I can do it, no matter what harder, oops, I put a 0 like no matter how hard I try, I cannot do it, then the rest doesn't matter. So any element is 0, then we don't do anything. For example, can do it. I would say if you can jump from floor to the second floor of your apartment building, I'll give you $1 billion. Will you do it? The effort size, I cannot do it, right? Like you are flying, you can't. That's why this 0, then forget it. As long as you have one thing that you will get trouble. The second, let's say, can I do it? If I say, assume, if you can read chapter 6 until next week, I'll give you $100. That's a bit too simple. I give you $1 million. You see this E2P? Yes. Can I do it? You can do it. No problem. Just one chapter. Can I get it? You have to think about it. Yeah. Does my professor have that $1 million? You have to consider this one, right? Can I get it? That would be the trouble. And do I like it? Of course, I like the $1 million. So anything equal to 0 will lead to 0 motivational force. No magic. If 0, it's 0. According to the formula, that's it. That's why it's a product, not loss. Let's think about what we can do for all this. If you try to motivate employees, what should you do for this one? How do you increase can I do it? How can you improve your employees' perception or assessment about can I do it? I cannot do it, the employees say. I can definitely do it. How could you change this assessment? Anyone? Think about any organizational procedure, organizational action that you can do it. Supervisor and set achievable goal. I'm talking about assessment. Whether it's achievable or not, it's come from your employees. Right? We talk about the motivation of employees. Employee needs to make assessment, can I achieve or not? Very good piece, you got it, yeah. So think about, I provide training. If I provide training, employees are more likely to consider that they can achieve it. Maybe originally unachievable, now you can achieve it because of training. That's the way you think about how to intervene to motivate the people. So set achievement goal, that's not the one, because you don't know whether it's achievable or not unless you can make your employees feel that way. That's why I say you give a right answer, but a useless answer. So the training would be the one to improve the assessment. What else do you think that we should do to help our employees to consider, yes, I can do it? Anyone? Encouragement, right? Just do it. Remember this slogan? Persuasion or encouragement. The employee may not have that confidence. He or she can do it. But you as managers can persuade him. You can do it, no problem. You should be okay. You're capable of doing it. So training, persuasion. What else you can think? Past experience. I did that before. Now I would be more confident. I can do it. So training, persuasion, past experience. What else you think you can do? Anyone else? You think you should be able to do it? Incentive is the outcome. I don't mean that incentive is outcome. Can I get it? No, it's not. I just said that if you can fly to the second floor, I give you $1 million. No, you cannot. So before you even get to think about that, you have to think about, can I do it? So what will give you that one? Can I do it? No, I give you $1 million or $1 billion will change the ability, your assessment whether I can do it. So the equipment and the tools. It's training, persuasion, past experience, equipment. Equipment can also change your assessment whether I can do it or not, right? So that's one that you have to consider. The training, of course. If the last one, we can also put it here. It would be related to your selection, personality. Can I do it? The internal person would more likely to believe it can do it. So you have a very optimistic attitude. The positive affectivity. Can I do it? Everything else equal, the positive person, proactive person, internal control person, more likely to believe I can do it. So it's very important to select the right people. That's why personality test is important, right? So we test to get the right person and provide training. We convince them by encouragement. We show them the past experience, and we provide the appropriate equipment and tools so they will be able to do it. See this, we have at least 5 different ways to make you assess this one, more likely to be able to do it. So that's a preferences or belief assessment. Can I do it? Similarly, for the second, can I get it? Now is the incentive. So what would be the factor that you can change to make the employee consider, yes, I can get it? What would change that? I can get it? Your assessment? Logic, okay. Credit? Whose credit? Talk about something, you got to be accurate. So the trust over there, some kind of mutual trust, right? So the trust will change your assessment whether you can get it. Is when you talk about promotion, it has nothing to do with, so can I get it, right? I promise $1 million, I cannot give you, so it's meaningless. So the trust is very important. What else? Past experience. I got that before. After I did something, I got the outcome. So I'm more likely to believe I will get it again. That is past experience. What else do you think would help? Think about in the organizational context, transparency. That's why I talk about procedural fairness. You participate in the whole process, or you understand, you are informed, everything you know, then you are more likely to get it. You are more likely to believe you can get it, at least. It's really about the assessment. Anything else you believe that will affect? Regulation and the policy of the organization. So if this kind of a procedure is written, they have a regulation, they have a rules, they have a policy over there. If you produce 100 more units, I give you $500 of the bonus. This could be a promise from managers. See the trust. And past experience, you got it. Transparent, we discuss it together. But if this one is written, I'm more likely to believe that I will get it. You see the P2O, right? So the trust, past experience, transparency, and regulation policies is written somewhere. Do I like it? Next one. What will change? Do I like it? Balance. The first one, of course, the size. Size matters. So what is the value of this bonus or the outcome. So the value of the outcome itself will determine, do I like it? You know, if I say, if you can run 1,000 meters, I give you $2. That $2 value is really is nothing to me. I will not do it. I will give you $1,000. You know, basically every meter I give you $1. You say, oh, that's a valuable thing. That's why the value of the outcome will improve your balance. Do I like it? What else do you think that would affect here? Anybody? What else will affect the do I like it assessment? Okay. Preferences? Interest? Okay, all relevant, and let's say we're going to use this word, fairness and equity. So the value and then the process and how you get this outcome. How do you get this valuable outcome? The fairness is another important factors. So of course, your needs, your preference, and the needs can determine whether you feel it's fair or not fair. So there are different ones. So value and fairness, equity are the two factors that will affect how you assess the outcome. Do I like it or not? So I want to make this 3 bigger for you to see, just in case. It's really important for the expectancy theory about effort, performance, outcome. And the theory says that whether you be motivated really depends on these 3 key questions. Can I do it? If I put in my effort, would I get the required performance? If I put the performance, would I get the outcome? And do I like the outcome? Instant feedback. It depends. If the feedback is negative, you may not like it, right? So that will be affect. Usually, it's about the outcome itself. The valency of the outcome comes from its size and its fairness, the process. Instant could affect how you perceive the interactional fairness. Remember that. So these 3, effort, E2P, P2O, and valence, the product of these 3 will determine what is your motivation force. And then, do I want to do it or not? You compare different things. Are you motivated to do these things? You go through your brain, the reasoning process, even though you may not have a specific number. Like, can I do it? When you do the reasoning, it's not really like, oh, it must be 75.678%. Not that way. Instead, most likely I can do it. So that will be like a high. So it's a low, high, neutral kind of sense. Can I get it? Yeah, based on my past experience, no problem. It's like 100% already. You may not have a specific number, say it's 99.78%. No, it's not that way. Instead, it's reasoning. The room provides a very quantitative formula for you to calculate the specific numbers. Do you want to do that? So this is called expectancy theory. Once again, it's expectancy, not expectation. And in the textbook, they talk about the instrumentality, talk about the first order outcome, second order outcome. It's too complicated. Instead, use this one to understand expectancy theory. Very straightforward, easy to see how it goes through our brain. All right, any questions? Any problems? Because we're going to have midterm next Monday. Make sure you understand. We'll give you some time to, in case you have an exam right away. If you don't, we're going to see you next Monday. I'll remain online. Email me if you have any trouble. And otherwise, we'll let you go. All right, we see you next week. Instead, next class, right? We're going to have an exam. All right, 伟萌、罗菊、子瑜、语言、李坤、卓娃 very good. 雅青、Todd、Kalachi、Jinru、Daniel. Yeah, see you all. Zia, look here. 你们 thank you. Schneider, 紫薇. Have a good weekend, a good busy weekend to prepare for your exam. let me stop the